Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once more. We got a little bit of something to talk about. Now, Dreamhack Dallas is actually this weekend. It starts tomorrow at the time of recording this video. And so I've actually wanted to do a talk on Esports World Cup for a while. And since these two events are kind of intertwined, I think it just makes sense for me to do it all in one talk as opposed to doing a separate video for that. And so if you've been in the fighting game community for a while, or even if you're relatively new, you've probably heard people talking about Dreamhack Dallas. And this is like probably the most attention that Dreamhack has gotten from the fighting game side for a really, really long time. Like, people are treating Dreamhack as a very, very important event. There's going to be tons of people there. We'll take a look at the brackets and stuff like that later on and whatnot. But it is a very, very stacked event for Street Fighter and for Tekken in particular. And there's a reason for that. But before I give you guys the reasoning for all that, I just kind of want to take you through what exactly is Dreamhack for those who might be uninitiated. Dreamhack is a very, very big esports festival. They actually are Europe-based. They're owned by ESL. And Dreamhack, I think, is based in Sweden. I think ESL is based in Germany. And so they're really known for like their place in bigger esports. So like if you're a Counter-Strike fan, or League of Legends, stuff like that, Dota 2, they've had parts in the past. They are kind of known for those games. They have had really, really, really big events involving. I've actually been to an ESL event for Counter-Strike in particular, and they run some fantastic productions and some great events. And so Dreamhack is kind of like they're branching out of that. Like I said, they were heavily Europe based, but now have been picking up more steam in the United States as time has gone on, and have also branched out into doing more than just the really, really big esports. They've now put their hand into fighting games. They've been putting their hand into fighting games for a bit now, for definitely a few years at the very least, and this kind of is an extension. Like, this is kind of like what they've like ramped up to. Important though, before I give you more background, the people that run Dreamhack are actually the people that are kind of acting as the liaisons between the fighting game community and Dreamhack. It's actually Jabali and Tong. And so if you those are names that if you're in the fighting game community, you've heard those names time and time again, for CEO, for Evo, for Combo Breaker, all those, right? It's Jabali and it's Tong. Both of them are very heavily involved with Dreamhack. They're on staff for that org. And so you can trust that these events, at least on the ops side, is in good hands. So that's at least really good. So things to make note of for Dreamhack, right? When you go to a Dreamhack, they're big festivals. That's kind of like how they market themselves. They're big festivals. They're not just like, you run a tournament. They're supposed to be like full, like almost con-like, or convention, like I guess would be easier to say more than, or more clear to say than con experience. So you see like the kind of the backgrounds that they have. They like to do cool little events like meeting like really, really big influencers. Like you can see Tyler One there. I know S-Fan confirmed that he was going to be there this weekend. If you're into live stream culture, they do this thing called Beat the Pros, where they have booths where you go and you play sets against like super top level players. You win a prize if you end up winning. So they do like these things that add value to the experience, even outside of people that are there just to play in tournament, which is so important when we talk about event organization. So big ups to them on that. From a competitive standpoint, the big thing that they offer, actually one thing that stands out with Dreamhacks as opposed to other events, is that the prize pools are pretty sizable, and they're also set. So most fighting game tournaments, they charge an entry fee, and the prize pool of the tournament is dependent on how many entrants it gets, right? So usually it's $10 per entrant, and the prize pool ends up being $10 times however many entrants you get, right? Sometimes there's pop bonuses and stuff like that on top, but the essence of what makes most prize pools nowadays is that entry fee. Dreamhack doesn't do that. If I remember correctly, they actually let you enter. They actually just let you enter whatever you want. They let you enter as many things as you want. I don't know if they actually like cap you at some point. I'm assuming they probably do, or else it'd be fucking impossible to schedule. But their prize pools are set, so they set them ahead of time. And no matter how many entrants it gets, whether it's 10,000 entrants or 2 entrants, they charge the same amount. right? Or they give out the same amount in terms of prize pool, which is usually for fighting games a really good thing. As long as the number is decent. I have to see if I can find their prize pool breakdowns. I don't know if it's on their website actually, or if it's not. Let's see. Oh, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I'm looking for. Festival info. Do they have a prizing page? No? Come on, Dreamhack. Come on, Dreamhack. You gotta have this somewhere. You gotta have this somewhere on your page. I don't think it's actually anywhere on here. Community meetups. Yeah, I'm not seeing. Let's see. There's StartGG page. Is it anywhere here? Ah, it is on StartGG. At least for the 2 games that we're dealing with. I don't know about the others, but I'll show you that really quick, so it's easy to follow. So according to the StartGG page, they are doing $50,000 for Street Fighter, $50,000 for Tekken 8, and that's set prize pool. If you go and you look at the amount of entrants that are for each of these games, you know, for a $50,000 prize pool at a normal event, you would need 5,000 entrants. Right, you need 5,000 entrants, all paying $10 to get to the 50,000. How many Street Fighter events have hit 5,000 entrants? I believe literally only one. I think it's only Evo 2023 thus far. For Street Fighter 6, that is. A previous one did it for whenever Street Fighter 5 came out, but yeah, you see what I'm saying. Street Fighter 6, you know, 391 entrants. Under normal prize pool structure, it would be about $4,000 would be the prize pool. Instead here is 50. So that's what I mean by like having the set prize pool thing is pretty good, as long as like the money's pretty decent. And usually for Dreamhack it is, and they usually do go off of like what games are really popular at the time. Like obviously Street Fighter and Tekken are the 2 bigger fighting game events. They do also have Strive there. They do also have Granblue. They do also have Uni and Mortal Kombat and Smash, but most of their prize pool budget is being put into Street Fighter and Tekken this time around. So that's really good. And yeah, so Dreamhack, thanks to having those big figures, you know, Tong and Jabali on staff, they've been making strides in the fighting game, and you will see a ton of commentators, especially on the TNS crew, are going to be there. So commentary is going to be great and everything like that. I don't think they'll have any issues with that. And so yeah, that's kind of what's going on this weekend. It starts on Friday, and this particular one, you might be wondering, you know, why are they putting, you know, $100,000 into 2 games? Why are so many people going out? This is pretty sizable. This is like pretty sizable. They have like 400 entrants for Street Fighter, and I believe Tekken is close to 500. Last time I checked after reg closed. Let me check really quick. Yeah, 486 for Tekken. This is big. This is like, these are big tournaments, right? These are big tournaments, especially for an event that isn't fighting games first. Like Dreamhack, when the name Dreamhack comes to mind, it's not fighting games that come to mind, right? It's the other stuff. It's the shooters and stuff like that. So for them to have this big of prize pools and this level of talent attending, and even the internationals, right? Even the internationals, you'll see some people attending this, like Goichi's there, Fenrich. These guys weren't even at Combo Breaker last week, right? They just weren't. They weren't there. Aqua, you know, and you see what I'm saying? Like, and so you might be scratching your head thinking, like, why are they there for this, but they didn't go to Combo Breaker, even though Combo Breaker has such a bigger part in, you know, fighting game culture and fighting game history? Well, the reason is one of the main topics of today, which is Esports World Cup. Esports World Cup was announced a few months ago, and it is what it's trying to be is like a big important circuit for fighting games. It's run out of, I believe, Saudi Arabia, and there are some really big claims that they're making. Some really big claims. But on a base level, what you need to know is that the people that place top 8 in Dreamhack Dallas will get a direct invite to Esports World Cup. They actually already had 8 people qualify before as well from Evo Japan. That was their previous qualifier. And so like people are really gunning for it. People are willing to fly from Japan and all over the world to go to Dreamhack Dallas for a chance to qualify for Esports World Cup. Why is that? Well, Esports World Cup has marketed themselves as a game changer. They are trying to be that core driving circuit for fighting games outside of like the publisher circuits. Like obviously we have our Capcom Cups, we have our Tekken World Tours and whatnot, but they're even trying to go over them, right? They're saying we have way more money, we have way more resources, we can appeal to much more than just fighting games. As you can see, the list of games on this lineup, it's not just fighting games, right? You have all of the pretty much all of the big esports here. League of Legends, Dota 2, we even have the mobile legends. We have Counter-Strike up there. We have PUBG. We have the mobile versions as well. We have Overwatch. We have Rainbow Six. We have Fortnite. We have all that, right? Like pretty much all the biggest esports right now are a part of Esports World Cup. And they're trying to do it in a little bit of a different format. I think there is like something with the teams where like orgs can sign up to have a team on the World Cup, and it's going to play out just like the World Cup. They did do something similar for Tekken, something like this for Tekken a while back. I don't know if Gamers 8 is Esports World Cup. I'm not 100% on that. It feels really similar though. I wouldn't be surprised if this were the exact same people, given that it's out of Saudi Arabia. Their structure is very familiar. I would assume that this is the Gamers 8 people. The people that did the $1 million tournament for Street Fighter 6 when it came out. Some of you probably remember that. The same people in the same deal. So, what are they trying to do? So they're telling us that over $60 million, right? It's literally in their marketing. They're saying it's life-changing money, $60 million for Esports World Cup. Now, don't jump the gun here, right? When they say 60 million, you also got to realize that there's 19 games. There are 19 games as part of Esports World Cup. And so like, don't go into it thinking like, oh my God, there's a Street Fighter tournament for $30 million. No, that's not what's happening here. In fact, I would love for everyone to kind of steady their expectations, because unfortunately, right, this is the only page we have. This is how they break it down. They have 20 million for the club championship, which I believe that's the one that's going to be like the teams involved, right? I think they're going to split the teams into clubs, right? And then go from there. I don't think any of this will be saw by fighting game players, because it's individual sport for fighting games. So I don't think that 20 million has anything to do with us. The game championships, 30 million plus, which I think that is where we would fall in, somewhere in there. And then they say they do 7.6 million for qualifiers, which I believe that is them putting up money. I don't know if that's them hosting their own qualifiers for this. Like maybe they're doing a last chance qualifier, maybe they're holding their own lead up events, or if this is them putting 7.6 million into other fighting game events that act as qualifiers for them. The latter would be much more beneficial for the community as a whole. 7.6 is a lot of money. Don't know if that's the way that they're going. I don't know if that's the reason that they can afford to put up 50K for Street Fighter, 50K for Tekken 8 at Dreamhack, but Dreamhack has their own money, so I kind of feel like if they were going that route, then it would be maybe a little bit more. I'm not 100% on that. I need more information. Their page doesn't have every single thing that I need. And then they have MVP awards. Don't know what the criteria are, how they're gonna divvy this, but I assume it'll be something at the club championships. They'll designate an MVP and they'll get like a cash prize on top for each game. So important to notice on this is that they don't tell you how it's broken down, and that's what scares me, right? That's what scares me. They tell us $30 million plus, right? That's great. That's a great number. That's a lot of money, but we have no idea how much of that actually goes to the games that are relevant to us. And you got to keep in mind that fighting games are unique, right? Fighting games are one of the few esports that are individual, right? It's just one person entering as one person. They're not entering as a team, right? And that makes it much more straightforward in terms of pricing, right? Because at the end of the day, the person that wins just gets the money that they were promised, right? When we talk about team sports, when we talk about, your League of Legends and Counter-Strikes and whatnot, pretty much all of the major esports aside from like StarCraft, you have to factor in how much do you pay to the team? How much do you pay to the org? How is that split up? Are there coaches involved? Are they getting payment too? This and that. I would have loved to see a breakdown for how much money is actually going to be in the finals for these fighting games, because that stuff is way more relevant to, you know, people traveling to Saudi Arabia to get a shot at this money, right? And then also committing a bunch of time and money to travel to the qualifier events. You see what I'm saying? Need to be a little bit clearer on that. So I'm not gonna really get excited for this until I see that breakdown. I don't know how long they're gonna take to give us that breakdown, because Esports World Cup itself starts, I believe, in July. Yeah, it starts July 3rd, and we still don't have an explicit prize breakdown for what is making what type of money. I think that's kind of oversight. It seems very rushed. Here's the criticism part, right? Here's the criticism part from the event organizer, right? Seems very rushed. They did this, they're like doing this with pretty quick turnaround time. Like they're trying to go. They're like brute force marketing with just, you know, throwing shit tons of money because they just have it. They do have some, they have gone out of their way to hire some people that can work on this from inside of the community. Like Jabali is working on Esports World Cup. He's not the issue though, right? Like I don't have any doubt that Jabali can at least have good ideas to bring to the table and like kind of steer it in the right direction. But the problem is that where's the authenticity, right? You're marketing yourself as Esports World Cup. That in and of itself, all right, I don't think is negative, but we already have this cultural divide in fighting games where people kind of like cringe whenever they hear the word esports. You have to convince them that your event is somehow different and somehow is worth it to them from the fighting game end, and that's difficult. That's not an easy thing to do. And the elephant in the room, right? And I'm just gonna talk about this because I feel like everyone has been kind of avoiding this topic, right? It's a Saudi Arabia thing, right? It's a Saudi Arabia thing, and if you know anything about Saudi Arabia, you would know about their policies when it comes to, you know, transgender people and, you know, kind of marginalized groups. This is the problem, right? This is an issue that is undoubtedly going to come up. There are some people that are essentially banned from participating in the Esports World Cup because of, you know, how they're treated, how people of their demographics are treated. And I think this is the side of like, you know, corporate esports stuff that gets kind of ugly sometimes, right? This is where because we ran into this issue already, right? We already ran into this issue with Gamers8. That's why like this is like kind of awkward. This is kind of awkward because we've already gone through this before, and we've seen how, you know, that has made people feel and this and that. I don't think anyone is going to be mad at like I don't know how people are going to respond to like commentators taking gigs and this and that, right? It's a very brutal industry that we're in. It is very hard to secure opportunities, especially with this much money in it. I'm sure the commentators are making a good payday and whatnot, but it would not be appropriate for me to talk about this event without bringing up this very, very obvious issue whenever we're talking about running events in Saudi Arabia. The fighting game community is a very diverse group. There are a lot of people from a ton of different backgrounds, and some of our best players are transgender. They just are. They just are. Some of them are gay and black and furries. Like, it's just like that, right? And nobody has an issue with that, right? We're cool with that. But these people that are running their event, their country might not be, which is like kind of a clashing of ideology there. It makes me feel weird. It makes me feel a little weird about it. It's like an issue that people are tiptoeing around. You don't hear a lot of people bring it up nowadays, but like I think that this is like something that we should keep note of at the very least for this time around. Like Street Fighter and Tekken, I don't think that their top end representation is like that. I don't think they're that much in danger. Like I don't think there's that many people that are quote unquote disqualified from this, right? But if they were to do like a Strive or something, that would be a really big issue, right? A really, really big issue. Strive has way, way, way more diverse representation, especially at the top end. This would be a big problem, right? And if their plan is growth, if their plan is to keep doing this year in and year out, we need to like really, really present this issue and talk about it directly, because if we keep dodging it and dodging it and dodging it, it just becomes bigger and bigger. And then what do? Eventually, we're gonna have to address the elephant in the room. You can't get away from this, right? You cannot get away from this. So that's like, these are my overarching criticisms about it. I think there's not enough information for how big, like $60 million. If you're marketing a $60 million event, you have the money and you have the resources to make everything as clear as humanly possible. Explicit breakdowns for everything, explicit dates, who's going to be on the commentary lineup. You have the money and resources to do that, because $60 million is more than enough to do that, right? Clearly. I'm not seeing that being done, right? Jabali can only do so much. I know he's a great guy. He's a great TO. He knows what the fuck he's doing, but he only has so much power, right? He was hired. He was hired to work on this. There are people above him that make the decisions for how this goes and how this is steered, right? And those people are going to impact how this plays out way more than Jabali could, right? Like, he's going to have an impact, but how much, right? He can only do so much if he doesn't own Esports World Cup. And I promise you, Jabali does not have $60 million. Promise you, he does not. And so long as that is the case, I think we should really like be careful about stuff like this. If you're a player, if you're a commentator, if they're hiring you for this or that, make your bag, right? I'm not gonna tell anyone not to, but I think it's really important that we're open with each other about this and we give it the proper criticism that it deserves, because there are criticisms to be levied against this org, against the way things are going, and it's like I said, it's such quick turnaround time. This was announced a few months ago at most. They're starting in July. Like, this is not a slow process. They're doing it extremely fast. They're trying to, make sure they're the one that you pay attention to over everyone else. And in a time in fighting games that is the most important time in fighting games, honestly, if you ask me, the most important time in fighting games, May to August, right? May to August, most important time. Why? The three biggest events in all of fighting games happen in that 3-month span. Straight up. Combo Breaker, CEO, Evo. The summer stretch, the most important time in fighting games, though that few months, right? You're doing it there, right? You're doing it in that time. And you just don't, it doesn't feel like they're not doing all of the things that they need to do, right? Doesn't feel like they're taking the proper steps. Like I said, it just feels a little forced. Right? And that's with my intuition. I'm sure there's other people out there that have probably have their own reservations, but I think that like, I'm not thinking like the event's gonna like fail or anything like that, but like, yeah, there should be some more here. There should be some more here. You can't wave $60 million in front of people's eyes and then not go through the proper processes. That's my criticism for Esports World Cup. Outside of that, I mean, there's a whole lot of things to talk about with it, but that is the reason that Dreamhack Dallas this weekend is like such a big deal. And so like we have 2 tournaments that are pretty much, they're 1-day tournaments essentially. Like if you look at the schedule here, right? Actually, let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better. All right, so if you look at the schedule here, Street Fighter starts tomorrow. It goes all the way through to phase 2 and then top 8's on Sunday. So it's a 1-day tournament, right? 400 entrants, 1-day tournament. It's gonna be brutal. Fatigue. It's gonna be a thing. Absolutely. With stakes this high, potentially, right? It's a big deal. Tekken, the same deal, right? Both of them pretty much 1-day tournaments with top 8 on Sunday. It's gonna be a bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath. Absolutely. And so yeah, it's something. It's something, bro. If I could give you guys a little idea of what to expect, right? Like people have already made tweets and whatnot talking about how they're how difficult their pools look and stuff like that, right? It's because, I mean, you got to figure in it's this level of competition and it's all 1 day, right? Punk's in this pool. Who else we got in here? VX Bao, right? Who else we got in here? Higuchi, Zaffarino. We got Snake Eyes in this pool, right? How many people make it out of these pools? 4? 4 out. 4-out pools for top 64. This is the type of competition that you're up against. This is brutal. This is brutal, right? Problem X, Spaceboy, Joe Umirogan, Xiaohai, Nemo, all in one pool. Only 4 people make it out. There are probably gonna be 6 to 8 people per pool that are like legit tournament threats that could potentially make it out of the pool. Only 4 make it out, right? And that, at the end of it all, only gets you to top 64. Only gets you to top 64, right? This is the level of competition you can expect. You have to play 2 rounds. You have to win 2 rounds of this for top 24, right? This is where your Men RDs, your Hot Dog, your Kawano, Angry Bird, right? These caliber of matches, that brings you to top 24. Go a step further. For top 8, Men RD Problem X projected. Angry Bird, DCQ, Chris Wong Punk, right? These are extremely high level, high placing players. These are not pushovers, right? This tournament is going to be... People are going to be upset. They're going to be mad. They're going to be mad. It's going to be a very frustrating experience for some people. Absolutely. Because like that environment and that much weight put on, that much weight put on this tournament, it's going to make people feel some type of way, right? It's just how it is. And don't even get me started with Tekken. Tekken's even bigger, right? It's even larger than Street Fighter. So it's going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal, especially for our international friends. You get one day to lock in that slot to World Cup. That's it. You can't have an off day, right? We know how it is. You know, when you go to a big tournament like an Evo or a CEO or a Combo Breaker, right? You could have a pretty shitty day one sometimes. Like you could not be playing the best, but you're so good as a player, you could still make it out in winners. You know, you might be a little worried, this or that, and then come back fresh the next day and be playing much better, right? You don't get that here. You don't get that there, right? You show up, you're playing a little bit off your game, you can kiss your chance at however much. Like I said, I don't know how much money it's gonna be. They marketed it as 30 million, but like it's not gonna be 30 million for these games. But probably gonna be like $1 million or something like that. Probably $1 million is a buzzword, right? $1 million is a buzzword now that Capcom has pretty much put themselves into a corner with with $1 million. Now Capcom can't do anything but $1 million for the rest of their life, or else people are going to be upset. And now everyone also has to do $1 million to, you know, have any type of quote unquote credibility. Everyone wants to keep up with them, right? So yeah, I have a feeling, honestly, with the way things are going, I think it'll probably be a little bit more than $1 million. If I were them, I'm not them. If I were them and I was doing this really, really fast turnaround marketing, like I would definitely make it bigger than Capcom Cup. Just do 2 million straight up. Capcom did 1.7. Capcom's final prize pool for Capcom Cup was 1.734 million, with $1 million going to first place, right? I would do 2 million. I would not only do 2 million, I would just split it way better than Capcom Cup did, because you guys know my criticism of Capcom Cup was that it had a great prize pool, but the distribution was fucking god awful. Oh my god, they could have changed so many more lives with Capcom Cup by splitting the prize pool better. Do $2 million, split the prize pool better, and you will create a name for yourself, because that's what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to become a household name in esports. They're trying to become the go-to in esports. Suddenly, everyone in the fighting game community is going to look to your circuit and your event, the one to focus on. If they have to forego Capcom Cup, if they have to forego Tekken World Tour, if they have to do all that to attend Esports World Cup, they probably will, because $2 million split amongst however many they're doing. I believe they're doing a 32. For fighting games, right? That's a lot of money if you split it the right way. That's to the point where even the people at the bottom, right? Even the people that qualify but don't go far in the tournament. Let's say you get to the tournament, you qualify, and you go 0-2. You could pay them 20K, right? You could do that. And that's not theory, right? I've drawn this out. Like, I have the numbers. I have the numbers. You could pay the people at the bottom 20K, right? And that's for last place. So that's what I mean by, like, you're changing 32 lives for qualifying. right? That goes a long way in a trust-based industry like fighting games, right? Will they do that? Probably not. Will they do that? Probably not. Why not? Because they don't have me on the team. It's just like that. It's just like that. It feels like every time a big company tries to come in and do something like this and try to force it, they miss the mark in one way or another. Esports World Cup has already missed the mark by the way that they're moving too fast, right? Things are going too fast. And there's not enough information. Those are two things that, to me, already have me skeptical. Feeling the prize pool split's probably going to be dog shit too. I would love to be proven wrong. Jabali, if you watch this video, for the love of God, oh my God, please make the prize splits better. Well, however much they give you, even if it's only just a $1 million prize pool, right? Split that shit better. Jesus Christ. Don't have people fly out to Saudi Arabia to be handed $500 and then send them home. Please. Please, bro. I'm begging you. But yeah, that's what, so that's what's going on this weekend. I will be covering Dreamhack Dallas all throughout this weekend. We will definitely be watching these tournaments because it is going to be kind of like watching a train wreck in some ways. Not that the matches won't be great. I think the event will run smoothly. I don't have any doubts about that, but these matches are going to be just, people are going to be playing nervous. They're going to be fighting for their lives during this tournament. And, you know, from a viewership perspective, a lot of people love to see that type of shit. So make sure you tune in to the Twitch this weekend as we cover Dreamhack Dallas. But that's the end of this talk. This one was a little bit longer than what I've been doing recently, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about when we talk about these two events. So we'll keep tabs on it, see how things develop. And like I said, the finals is coming up soon. Like it's like crazy how soon it is. That's what makes all of this so scary. But you know, it is what it is.